Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another week and another round of the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship here on Racestream. We take another trip to the Czech Republic and to a fantastic circuit, the most exciting on the calendar, some would say. It is, of course, the Autodrom Most. We're here for our usual two 25-minute races, the second of which, of course, is that top 5 reverse grids, the 4th event of the season. It's been a fantastic season. There you can see the circuit itself, quite long, quite technical, and should pose a very good challenge for our racers this evening. Quick rundown then of the championship standings. As you can see, Gregor Hujek, the favourite to come into season 4 as the champion, is leading the way. 5 points though ahead of two-time champion Lloyd Biddulph. Nenad Radosavljevic, one of the most consistent drivers of the entire grid, up there in third, ahead of Marvin Mackenberg, who missed the first round at Donington. Pavel Mukonin is there in 5th after the intrigue that happened at turn 5 a week ago. Ashur Zoyse, he's matched on points for 5th and 6th. Bowen Kabaya from Stu Neal and Sebastian Ray are our top 10, with Sven Mackenberg and Pascal Jean-Pierre very much has had a rough couple of weeks, to absolutely say the least. Onion Opalic ahead of Jorge Prieto. Bibioni from Butcher, the top 16, from Zvonimir Burek, Blatchak, Portugal, Kamano, and Nikita Gore, the only driver in the negatives for the points, racking up a couple of penalty points. My name, of course, is Zach Sweeney, to talk you through all of the racing action this evening. I'm looking forward to it once again. Quick reminder as to obviously where we've been. We went to Donington at the end of October, same too with Brno. Then we went to the Lausitz Ring a week ago. We're here for Most before we head to the Blitterberg, Laguna Seca, Assen and the Red Bull Ring on the 8th of December on that run up to Christmas. We're flying through the season already, and then we get to look forward to the fantastic plans in the works for 2025, but we'll leave that for a surprise. We'll leave you in suspense. We'll drop in some sprinkles as the season goes on and ramp it all up for the year ahead. Marvin Mackenberg, though, continues to impress in qualifying. A 1:38.643 is the benchmark ahead of Ben Farkas there in second. Pavel Mukonin from Lloyd Biddulph and Gregor Hujek, the top 5. And if you're looking at Gregor Hujek in 5th and thinking, well, hang on, he's the championship leader, what's going on there? We do apply a balance of performance. So the top 4 in the championship get themselves 20, 15, 10 and 5 kilos respectively, depending on their championship position. So for Hujek, that's 20, Biddulph it's 15. Then, of course, for Nenad Radosavljevic, he gets 10, Marvin Mackenberg then gets 5. And you're thinking, well, that's not a lot, 5 kilos is whatever, but it really does make a difference. The car becomes a lot less agile, of course, inertia. You know, the heavier something is, the more force it takes to change what it's doing, speed it up, slow it down, change its direction. So that extra weight is going to pose a problem, but not too big of a problem for Marvin Mackenberg, who takes pole position ahead of the Hungarian, Ben Farkas, who really did impress a week ago. Gregor Hujek and Pavel Mukonin make up row 2, with our double champion of Lloyd Biddulph in 5th. Ashur Zoyse will keep him company on row 3 ahead of Sebastian Ray. Then comes Nenad Radosavljevic, 3rd place in the championship, 8th place after qualifying. Pascal Jean-Pierre inside the top 10 ahead of Bowen Kabaya. Then comes Stu Neal and Nikita Gore, who will keep him company on row 6. Butcher from Opalic, Jorge Prieto, Burek, Biblioni, Rodrigo Portugal, the 18th and final driver to take to the first of 2 25-minute races. Hello and welcome, of course, those of you that are now just joining us in the YouTube chat. We're going to jump our way into a very quick warm-up before we make our way into the race. I, for one, really looking forward to Most. I remember it in the Racing Range Championship, I can't remember which season it was. It might have been season 2 of 23, maybe? Season 1 of 23, or one of the two, whatever it was. And it really did impress. It was the MX-5 Carbon. Unsurprisingly, the first time I'd ever gone to the circuit in terms of commentary. But it really did impress. And of course, these guys, you know, anyone that's been around the T6 family, I mean, the Touring Car Championship on R-Factor 2 on Tuesday was an absolute blast at Laguna Seca. And the Super Touring Championship, well, it is called Super for a reason. These guys constantly on the limit of what's acceptable, but never usually a step over it. Obviously, we're not perfect, but for the most part, the racing is fantastic. And you know, recently I was going through clips of T6 to put in my showreel, and I just remembered how many fantastic memories that we've got that started all the way back in Silverstone, the very, very first Super Touring Car Championship on Raceroom. And Since then, so many good moments. Last round, of course, of Seasons 3 at the Nürburgring with Gasper Mack trying to seal that championship. It was magical, and this season so far is proving to be exactly the same. So, we'll find out as we head into, as I say, 2 25-minute races. And again, another quick reminder as to what these drivers are fighting for. If this is your first time here, you're thinking, well, what's going on here? Pretend race cars on a racetrack. £200 cash go to the winner of the Super Touring Championship. Second place gets 125 quid. Third place gets 75. And not to worry, if you don't finish inside the top 3, there's still prizes, even if you just show up. The draw is 2 T6 t-shirts. And I still haven't got one. Nudge, nudge, it's fine. I'm sure that, I mean, we've heard from Jordan Osborne that they're actually fantastic. So, some nice prizes going the way of our drivers this season. Of course, thanks in part to our fantastic host of Which Retherill, who puts in a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure everything is running smoothly, all the people behind the scenes here at T6, but also, importantly, our sponsors, Jesse's Garage and Garage Dupont, both of whom based in Switzerland, and you can go and show them some love in the YouTube description below. Looking forward though to the race. 30 seconds before we're on to the grid. Sven Mackenberg coming into the chat and saying apparently the brakes are completely different. Going from practice to qualifying, lots of work to do for him. So interesting as to why that is actually. I mean, I've heard of in other sims, sort of the likes of Assetto Corsa and whatever, that the car does definitely behave differently between sessions, and even sort of behaves differently from single player to multiplayer servers as well. It's quite interesting. So maybe a similar thing in regards to that from Sven Mackenberg. Either way, he's got some work to do and will be carving his way forward nonetheless, and be trying to get on tabs with his brother, of course, of Marvin, who's going to be lining up on pole position. And just remember, the Mackenberg brothers only joined us for round 2, and one of them's already inside the top 4 in the championship, the other one not far behind. Looking forward then to the 7th race of season number 4. Hello to everyone that's now coming into the YouTube chat. NerdPC, of course, our sponsor of the Touring Championship on R-Factor 2, coming to show the race room guys some love. Just waiting for the last couple of people to load themselves onto the grid. Look out for that Audi RS3. That, of course, Lloyd Biddulph, our double champion, lining up this race in 5th, wants to climb his way forward, and importantly wants to stay ahead of Gregor Hujek. 5 red lights are on, 25 minutes on the clock. Round number 7 of the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship. Mackenberg from Farkash, the front row, here at the Autodrom Moss. It's lights out, and we go racing. Mackenberg gets a good start from pole position, and Bence Farkash immediately pulls over to cover off Gregor Hujek from 3rd place, who's going to be looking to make some ground for the championship. Look to the inside from the Slovenian. Let's see what Hujek can do as they approach the first chicane. Bit of contact as Bence Farkash goes off into the gravel trap. Marvin Mackenberg now under threat as Lloyd Biddulph looks to carve his way through, side by side between the 2 championship leaders as they emerge out of the first chicane. Who's going to be the one who's going to make it as we all the way down towards the S's? It's a long, long run that you're spending flat out. Who's going to be sort of the most committed? It's not easy to run side by side, and in the end it's going to be Lloyd Biddulph that backs out of that one versus Gregor Hujek. But a huge moment for Bence Farkash. That's put him all the way down from the front row to 17th place after the dust settles, and that is costly for the championship. Side by side, I think that's going to be Sebastian Ray versus Nenad Vladisavljevic. Indeed it is. There's the Serbian who's now tucking in behind the German driver as we get through the wiggly bits and then towards the back end of the circuit, towards sort of turn 10 and the like. So far, so good though. There is Lloyd Biddulph, as we've said, so a very chaotic start to this race, in all honesty. But an important one for Biddulph, of course, starting from 5th. With his championship rival starting in 3rd. He really did want to get a move on, and get a move on he most definitely has. A couple more corners before we round off the first lap. There's a look down the inside from Shaw's Oyster, our Flying Dutchman, through the final corner. This long sweeping double right-hander technically is 2 corners, turns 20 and turn 21, but you sort of treat them kind of separately, kind of both. they do very nicely flow one into the other. Vadisavljevic, a look to the inside of Sebastian Ray, and look at the movers. Lloyd Bidoff up 2, Ray up 2, Vadisavljevic up 2, Pietro the same, Sweeney as well, up a couple of places. A lot of people moving in 2s, partially helped, of course, by Ben Farkas. I'm not sure what happened going into turn 1. Let's take a look later on as to really what happened. I think we only just saw sort of the tail end of it. There is Lloyd Bidoff on the back of Gregor Hujek. He has got Pavel Mukkonen for company, and those that tuned in last week at the Lausitz ring will know what happened to Pavel Mukkonen. Then again, I don't really think Pavel Mukkonen knows what happened to Pavel Mukkonen. He made up for it really remarkably, though. It has to be said, he ran really well from that point on, but not meant to be, and that cost him some ground in the championship that he now has to make up. No drop scores for season 4. Side by side behind them, Vadisavljevic trying on the inside of Sebastian Ray. Through the bottom end of the circuit once more. Let's see if Pavel Mukkonen is going to eye up a move on Lloyd Bidoff. Let's see if Sebastian Ray's got a counter-attack in store for Vadisavljevic. And not the best of qualifying for the Serbian, but he is a driver that, you know, if he has track position, he's going to hold it. So it's a good thing he's moved forward, because that man is an absolute tank, is Vadisavljevic. And yeah, he is, when he's in his zone and when he's determined to keep a position, yeah, good luck getting past him, Sunshine. Stu Neal watching on as Pascal Jean-Pietro tries to look to the inside. Kabaya a little bit off the back of that as well in that white Cupra. So Shaw's Oyster versus Pascal Jean-Pietro getting a bit close for comfort, but I think in the end PJP was able to, at the moment, hang on to 7th place. 4 minutes down and still 21 minutes left to go. To everyone that's tuning in, as NerdPC very most eloquently put it, make sure to like, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications, and share it to absolutely everyone. Your mum, your dad, your sister, your uncle, your auntie, your dogs, cousin, whoever, I don't care. Get them watching T6, because these guys are the absolute pinnacle of Race Room Esports. So many recognisable names, and even if you've not seen them on the Race Room Ranked broadcasts, you will know of them. And even if they've never raced in a top split before, they very much could hold their own, is what I'm saying. Pascal Jean-Pietro under pressure, though, as of course Shaw's Oyster is trying to clinch in from behind. Stu Neal as well applying pressure to Shaw's Oyster and that sort of Dutchman sandwich with 2 different types of bread either side of him. But that's besides the point. People going for some 50-50. Well, actually slightly dropping off the back is Stu Neal. Overly able of keeping tabs. Another lap in the books, though, as we approach towards turn number 1. The gap at the front still 3-way between Mackenberg, Hujek and Bidoff. To be fair, so too Pavel Mukkonen, as the split is relative to the leader, of course. So we've got 4 cars within a second. PJP looks to the inside of turn 1. That's not going to materialise from there, but again, he's half attacking, half defending, and a slight little bit of a nudge there, actually, from behind. The Swissman, of course, gets pushed wide. Then the Dutchman tries to get underneath him. They're going to be side by side as they run their way towards the S's section. Have to keep track of what corners are coming at you where. This is then going to be turn 6, quickly leads into 7. You've then got another right-left coming up. That's, of course, turned 8 and 9. This back end of the circuit, this is turn 10, this loop round that puts you back onto the very long stretch towards the end of the circuit. Quite a long track is the Autodrom Most. It very much is a long one. I don't, have you raced Most, Jordan? I don't know if it would be on FX2. I know you sort of, that's your neck of the woods, but Race Room, it's free. I think Most is one of the free circuits, maybe, I don't know. Either way, it's probably only going to be a couple of quid. So if you want to, Race Room, get on it, spend some VRPs, their in-game currency, and sort yourself out. Autodrom Most, a fantastic circuit. Not one that I've driven, actually. I would like to. Ben Farkas, though, he's recovered to 14th. That puts him back inside the point. They're side by side just ahead of him. Sven Mackenberg, hopefully the brake issue is fixed. He's on the inside of Jorge Prieto for 12th place. The German driver looks to the inside of that final corner, but stringing him around the outside. Fair play from Prieto, doing himself proud. and he's going to thwart one of the Mackenberg brothers for another day. However, Ben Farkas is a driver that's a man on a mission. All he sees in front of him is not Sven Mackenberg and Jorge Prieto. He sees P13 and P12. That is all he cares about. A look to the inside, bit of contact between the pair. Sven Mackenberg side by side with Jorge Prieto. Ben Farkas is looking at this and trying to analyse how he can best capitalise. The run is there though from the Honda Civic, who pulls out to run side by side, neck and neck with the Cupra, at least momentarily. I think the Cupra's initial, whilst the initial getaway was slightly slower, the pull on the straight definitely slightly more advantageous. Ben Farkas with a great run out of that final part of the first bit of the S's, then into the next bit, into turn number 10, under brakes, gets given a little bit of space from Sven Mackenberg, and that's all that Ben Farkas needs to complete a move. Yes, this is down in 13th place, but it dictates the tone of the rest of the race for Ben Farkas. The quicker he can dispatch of Mackenberg, the quicker he can get after the rest of the field. But cutting the nose across through turn number 13, that was Sven Mackenberg. He's not giving this up without a fight by any stretch of the imagination. Nikita Grora as well, trying to recover on -6 points. Looks to the outside of Ben Farkas, who says absolutely not to that. Back at the front of the race, it's Marvin Mackenberg and Gregor Hijek from Lloyd Biddulph, nose to tail to tail to nose to nose to tail to nose to, no, hang on, nose to tail, no, it's they're really close is what we're going to go with. I've just had an absolute brain fart with that one. Nonetheless, Pavel Mukonen's in the mix as well. We've got 16.5 minutes. I'm going to get absolutely rinsed by Rich for that one. I'm not living that one down at all. Look to the inside though from Lloyd Biddulph. He tries to manufacture a move for second, because the pressure from Pavel Mukonen most definitely is there. Sausage Curbs on the inside of turn 2, so you have got to be careful. The show reel there, yeah, no, absolutely. That is going smack bam front and centre. Side by side, Sven Mackenberg still with Ben Farkas, of course. It's the Honda Civic that's the German driver. It's then the grey and navy blue Ben Farkas that's side by side with him into the S's. It's basically who's got the most amount of bravery, and this time round it's going to be Ben Farkas emerging side by side of turn 10. There was going to be Gregor Hijek with Lloyd Biddulph. These two, 5 points separate them in the championship, and Lloyd Biddulph needs to make the most of the fact that he's got a couple of less kilos on board in ballast than Gregor Hijek. Maintaining that gap, they're going to swarm in. Pavel Mukonen looking to get involved as well into the next braking zone. Hijek holds the inside line for turn 15, then into 16. There's contact, and Pavel Mukonen has been sent round. A bit of oversteer. He's able to hang on to it and only lose a couple of seconds, but that's a couple of seconds that could be costly. Vada Sablovic is now applying the pressure, trying to get himself in a 4th place. Lloyd Biddulph mounting a huge attack going into the final couple of corners. Looks to the outside. Gregor Hijek tries to hold firm through the penultimate corner and does so. Lloyd Biddulph, no way through for him, as Marvin Mackenberg is saying, you boys carry on, I'm going to check out and leave you in my dust. Gregor Hijek, though, does not want to relinquish any points to Lloyd Biddulph. But they have got to be careful with this mindset. We're still sort of, I think we're going to round off the first half of the season today. And Marvin Mackenberg, I mean, granted, yeah, he's behind, but he's only 25 points behind. And considering we've only got, we've still got half the season left to go, still got 8 more races to go after this evening. Marvin Mackenberg is still a challenger, so Lloyd Biddulph and Gregor Hijek need to be careful not to sort of tunnel vision each other in that respect, because then Marvin Mackenberg will just be quietly picking up points as the rest of the season goes on, and then very quickly Hijek and Biddulph have got another adversary to be sort of concerned about. Because right now, on both of them, Marvin Mackenberg will be picking up 3 points on Hijek. If you think, you know, there's 9 more races, 3 points a race, if it's on this trajectory, is going to be 27 points by the season's end. There's Lloyd Biddulph this time on the inside. Gregor Hijek, though, sees it coming, gives him an almighty squeeze to the inside, and said, absolutely not, mate. You've had your time in the sun. This season's mine. Approaching half distance, though, of the first race of the evening. Don't go anywhere after this one, of course. We're then going to have a top 5 reverse grid, which, as things stand, is going to put Vada Sablovic on pole. I'll back him to win that race, actually, from pole position. Just been informed that Ben Farkas has DNF from this race. Maybe that's an Alt F4, maybe that's him done for the evening. Sebastian Ray for fifth place, from 6th place, looks to the inside of Adasavljevic. He wants that reverse grid pole position, of course. Right now, barely anything separates the two of them. But when it comes to race 2, it'll be 5 grid slots that separate them. So the stakes are high and really could change the tone of the rest of the evening for you, while also picking you up an extra couple of points in race number 1. Sebastian Ray looks, but got to be either brave or stupid, or maybe a mixture of both, to go for the move through the first part of the S section there, through 5 and 6 and 7. Now into, of course, 8 and 9, and then this is 10. But yeah, interesting for Farkas. Of course, had that trouble at the start and has decided to DNF, which, if he sort of does contend in race 2, will start from the back of the grid, and it's the last thing you want from a front row grid start. From Mackenberg, by the way, at the front, 1.1 seconds is the gap, because, well, these two too busy fighting each other. Very quickly, I think actually Pavel Mikkonen will reel himself back into contention as well. So, you know, they're not quite in the all clear just yet either. Lloyd Biddulph and Gregor Hijek, they're not just fighting for second. They've got Pavel Mikkonen, Vadisavljevic and Sebastian Ray and Koa not a million miles away. Not saying they're definitely going to close in, but, you know, we've only just ticked over the halfway mark. So if I was Lloyd Biddulph, I'd probably actually be putting the ego and the championship aside for a second and focusing on the outcome of this race. Maybe trying to push Hijek onto the back of Mackenberg and limit the chance of him checking out and getting away. Also boosting his chances of winning this race from the perspective of Lloyd Biddulph. This is Pascal Jean-Pietre, who, still after nearly 2 years of knowing him, haven't got a clue how to say that last name. I have a go, but my English brain just cannot handle the French ending. Dara did A-level French, so obviously he's an expert of it. So PJP for me, for Pascal. 11 minutes still on the clock. Stu Neal still down in 9th place. I have to say, actually, been really impressed with Stu Neal as of late. Both this championship, of course, consistent top 10 finishes and all that, but of course actually on the Tuesday as well, ran really, really well. He's inside the top 10 in the championship, 44 points to his name. And in what is a pretty close fight for that mid part of the top 10. He could be sort of one of the front runners for best of the rest as such, for those outside of the direct championship fight. Well, there's no prize money for that. There's a decent amount of sort of pride and self-accolade for that. I mean, I'd be proud of myself to finish that high up in a grid this strong. Not that that would ever happen. Trust me, there is a reason I'm in the commentary box. Gregor Hijek now. It's going to be the Hijek Express. It's going to be Biddulph in behind. Pavel Mikkonen behind him. So a train of 3 cars. The gap, to be fair, to Marvin Mackenberg, either staying the same or coming down ever so slightly. So I don't think it's over. If these 3 decide to sort of work together, they very easily could go sort of get onto the back of Marvin Mackenberg. I think that needs to be the priority. I don't think Lloyd Biddulph is going to get the memo, though. He's going to look to the inside of turns 1 and 2. Gregor Hijek sees it coming, tries to go to the outside, but Lloyd Biddulph takes the apex away and takes the room away as well. They're going to emerge just about side by side, but it's actually going to be Pavel Mikkonen who gets the run and gets the slipstream from Lloyd Biddulph down towards the S's. Biddulph now into 2nd place. Hijek trying to keep 3rd into the S's. What can Mikkonen do as he tries to battle with the championship leader? Lloyd Biddulph swoops the nose ahead into turns 6, 7, 8 and 9. Beautifully done from our double champion, showcasing that talent and clawing back some points in the all-important championship fight with 9 minutes left to go. The question remains, though, can he get after Marvin Mackenberg? With 9 minutes and 7 seconds of this race remaining. 1.7 seconds is the gap. What does everyone think of the race so far? Let me know. Thoughts, feelings, queries, questions, whatever tickles your fancy. Let me know who you're supporting for at home, friends and family and dogs as cousin and all that. Let us know who you are, where you're watching from, and how you're finding the action, because a lot of obviously physical warfare in terms of these guys being so electric out on circuit, but also that psychological warfare, fighting for championships, giving each other just barely enough room that you can get away with it. That's what I love to see, and well, I hope we'll continue to see for the rest of the season. Still watching Stu Neal, that's on the back of Shaw's Oyster, who has dropped a little bit off Pascal Jean-Pietre, and we'll need to find a way through, because Stu Neal may be lacking at this part of the race, but definitely close enough on that occasion, opting not to go for the move. Maybe even a slight lift just to sort of say, no, I'm not really interested. Maybe confident in Shaw's Oyster that they can get onto the back of PJP. Because easy to forget, we still have a decent chunk of this race actually left to go. So 7 minutes 40 is still plenty of time, but not an infinite amount of time, don't get me wrong. You can't be ridiculously patient, but you've got a little bit of wiggle room to sort of take a breath, analyse the situation a little bit. It's not like a final lap dash. Gap at the front, just a quick update on that one. Marvin Mackenberg now 2 seconds clear of Lloyd Biddulph, who I think actually, I don't know if he's able to core in on Mackenberg. Honestly, I think 1.8 plus passing is going to be tricky unless Mackenberg makes a mistake. There is that train. And to be fair to Biddulph, I wouldn't blame him if his focus is more keeping the drivers behind him behind and closing in front. But even then, I would say, focus forward anyway, because if you focus on catching Mackenberg, you're probably going to end up dropping the 4 people behind you anyway. So he needs to be careful not to be lulled into that trap of defending when he doesn't necessarily need to, because when you've got Hujek, Mukonen, Vadisavljevic and Sebastian Ray putting the pressure on, it definitely is going to get spicy very quickly. However, Pavel Mukonen, don't think he's interested on pushing Gregor Hujek closer to Lloyd Biddulph. I think he's interested in sparking maybe a slight bit of a go at a move, especially now Vadisavljevic is behind him. Don't forget Sebastian Ray's got a little bit of motivation to try and go for that reverse grid pole position. By a little bit, I mean a lot of bit of motivation. He wants to be rewarded with that. Maybe go for that victory in race number 2, albeit 25 minutes, a long time to defend for. Any driver inside the top 6 I would back to win the race. To be fair, even other drivers, Sven Mackenberg, Ben Farkas, even Shaw's Oyster or PJP, those drivers outside of the top 6 at the moment, which has proven to be the league sort of above the rest in this race at face value. They've absolutely proven themselves as worthy adversaries to win on their day. 5.5 minutes left to go. Mackenberg from Biddulph, Hujek, Mukonen and Vadisavljevic to the top 5. That'll get flipped on its head to set the grid for race 2. Plus everyone else, of course, starting in their respective finishing positions or non-finishing positions in the case of Ben Farkas. Does Mukonen have the eyes for a move? And I don't think so. I mean, in terms of heavy braking zones at Most, and by heavy braking zones I mean like a hairpin at the end of a back straight sort of thing, you haven't really got that. The only example of a hairpin that you've really got is turn 10, and that's just after sort of a single file wiggly bit, and there's not too much of a gap between that to actually sort of send a move. The next heaviest braking zone, probably right here in turn 1 and 2, but it's still carrying a decent chunk of speed through the first bit. So I would maybe argue that it is probably kind of difficult to get a move done at Most. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of fast and flowy bits that you can really use slipstream to your advantage, but if you're not then slamming on the anchors, it can be sometimes difficult to make that difference. It's easy to make a mess up as well. One small mistake can really hamper your momentum. Obviously not comparing Most to Thruxton, but in a similar way to maybe how Thruxton works. In that sense, you mess up one corner, it does sort of start a chain reaction that puts you off for the next couple of corners at the very least. So you have got to be careful in that vein. 4 minutes left to go. Sebastian Ray, like I've said, I'm surprised he's not been too aggressive. I definitely would be if I was looking at this. Maybe he's waiting for like a mistake or there to be some chaos, doesn't want to throw himself and settle too early, which you can understand. Maybe he's thinking that maybe Vadisavljevic, Mukonen, Hujek will maybe have an incident together and he'll be able to capitalise that way. Doesn't want to do much the heavy lifting himself. Got to respect that. Or maybe it's not a can't, it is, or maybe it's not a won't, it is a can't. It's also a possibility. And again, he's proven himself in terms of pace, and with the slipstream, he's more than capable to go for that move. Nonetheless, Gregor Hujek is going to be defensive. there's not really a lot of space on the inside, and Lloyd Biddulph is going to be assisting his championship rival to keep Pavel Mukkonen at bay. Pulling over back to the racing line though, and there's contact. The Constantina effect strikes, and Sebastian Rey goes sideways. Thankfully for him, he's not looped all the way around and still is in contention. Got to be careful with the tyres though. You don't want to slide and lean on them too much, especially a high demanding circuit like Moss. There is tyre wear, and a slight bit of tyre management is going to be key. 25 minutes for touring cars is I'd say average, but you know, it's a long time. It's not overly a sprint. Yeah, there is an element of conservation, consistency, that sort of thing in effect, and you've got to be really careful, especially those fronts. They get absolutely hammered doing the turning and the accelerating, and take the brunt force when it comes to the braking as well. Minutes 20 on the clock, so probably going to be looking at the last lap next time by. Maybe we're going to get 2 more. It's going to be close actually. We've got what, 30 seconds to get to the end of the lap. I think they might just cut it. We're looking at maybe 1 minute 40 to get another lap. Could well be the final lap this time by, well, next time by I should say. This time by would insinuate it's this lap. It's going to be close actually. He's now running his way into the final couple of corners. We've got 10 seconds for him to cross the line. I think we are going to get maybe 2 more laps. 38, 39. No, this is going to be the final lap this time by them. Marvin Mackenberg looks set to take another victory this season. Lloyd Biddulph trying to hang on to second. He seems comfortable to do that. Will Gregor Hudjek be able to hang on to third? Don't forget, he's carrying 20 kilos of ballast to his car. A huge amount when it comes to racing. The car going to be feeling so much more sluggish through the S's, so much more sluggish coming out of corners, maybe a little bit having to give a little bit in terms of the braking zones as well to compensate for that. Maybe that's why we're seeing him run slightly wide through the S's and stuff, because the car just doesn't really have the ability to deal with that lateral stress. But he's managed really well. You'd barely be able to notice that he's actually maybe slightly off his pace. But punished for leading the championship to keep it nice and close. Lloyd Biddulph though, he's only a few kilos behind. He seems to be doing A-OK. Just goes to show the level of competition in this championship. Fantastic each and every single one of these drivers are. Pavel Mukkonen though on the back of Gregor Hudjek. Marvin Mackenberg, he's going to be closing in some pretty important points for that championship. He might still have a chance if the other two continue to maybe underestimate him ever so slightly. There is our race leader, and in 10 seconds will become our race winner, unless he's going to be almightily quick and get it on the run to the line. I don't think that's going to be the case. 3, 2, 1, the timer ticks to 0, the checkered flag will wave, and for another time this season, Marvin Mackenberg takes victory, and this time it's at the Autodrom Mast. Lloyd Biddulph comes at home in second place. Gregor Hudjek completes the podium, and the championship gap closes not just from P1 to P2, but P1 to P3 as well. Marvin Mackenberg, I think, could be a huge adversary as the season develops. Sebastian Rey unable to tip Radosavljevic to P5 for that reverse grid pole, so the Serbian will line up alongside Pavel Mukkonen on row number 1. But then Gregor Hudjek alongside Lloyd Biddulph, Marvin Mackenberg then alongside Sebastian Rey for row number 3. So look out for Biddulph and Hudjek sharing a row into turn 1. Lloyd Biddulph doesn't want to finish behind Hudjek anymore this season. He's had enough of that over the last couple of weeks and would like to change his fortunes and maybe start to build a slight gap in the championship. Waiting for the last driver of Rodrigo Portugal to make his way round. And there you can see final standings for this race. Marvin Mackenberg takes the win, the pole point, but it's going to be Lloyd Biddulph that takes second place, and with it the fastest lap point as well. Gregor Hudjek then completes the podium in third ahead of Pavel Mukkonen, and Sebastian Rey in fifth. Radosavljevic getting a 30-second time penalty, presumably for an unserved slowdown. That is huge, and Sebastian Rey will start from pole position for race 2. I'm going to step away and we'll be back. Welcome back then, guys. Race 2 about to get itself underway. Race 1, of course, saw Marvin Mackenberg take to the victory. But who's going to do it in race 2? It's Sebastian Ray alongside Pavel Mukonin for the front row. 25 minutes back on the clock here at Autodrom Most. Who's going to come on top as we complete the first half of season 4, lights out, and we get underway. Sebastian Ray immediately over to cover the inside as Pavel Mukonin goes with him. Gregor Hujek getting an almighty start from the third row of the grid. He's side by side with Lloyd Biddulph, but look at Gregor Hujek coming steaming down the outside, trying to capitalise. He's going to find his way through into second place. Pavel Mukonin tries to cover him off. There's contact as Jules Oyster is sent sideways. Sven Mackenberg finds his way inside the top 10. Marvin Mackenberg has to settle for 6th after the dust settles, continuing to go side by side. There was that fight for second. Pavel Mukonin not giving up without a battle between himself and Gregor Hujek through the S's for the first time. The Cupra not going to back down at all. He's going to have the inside for the next stripe, but the sweeping momentum keeps Hujek in front for now. Look at Lloyd Biddulph as he tries to find his way through into turn number 10, and there's almighty send from the Russian driver. Lloyd Biddulph now tries to get underneath. There's been a contact between the two championship rivals. Pavel Mukonin very momentarily thought he was going to go spearing off into the barrier. It's now Hujek versus Biddulph, and Biddulph going to find his way through into the kink here at turn 13, and Lloyd Biddulph finds his way past. But look at the oversteer from the two-time champion, but that's going to put him on the back foot, not only from Hujek, but Marvin Mackenberg as well, our race 1 winner, looking to go to the inside of Gregor Hujek, who steamed his way around the outside in defence. But Lloyd Biddulph, what an important start that was to find his way through into third place, and Sebastian Ray, a very maturely driven start to facilitate the race lead. Pavel Mukonin, though, like I've always said, not scared to get his elbows up by any stretch of the imagination. There's Sweeney as well, looking to go to the inside of Pascal Jean-Pietre. There's a look as Nenad Vadisavljevic, a 30-second time penalty to set him on the back foot for race number 2. He's going to be looking to carve his way through. Should have been reverse grid pole position. That's how quickly your evening can get turned on its head. The cruelty of motorsport at times. But settle in, guys, this is going to be a very interesting one. There's BJP gets completely pushed wide from Stu Neal, and then Rus Butcher goes sideways through turn 1 and 2 as well. That was a lot of things happening in a very quick succession. 2 minutes and 22 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. We're 2 minutes and 10 seconds through the race. Good start. Early doors. Looking forward to seeing what the rest of the race brings. Let me know in the YouTube chat what you guys are thinking of that, because from my perspective, that was calamity. A lot kicked off in a very short space of time. Looking at Nenad Vadisavljevic, he's out of this race. Going to be calling it a day. He's at the front, it's Pavel Mukonin versus Sebastian Ray. He's going to be going for the victory as Pavel Mukonin. Some points back in the championship after finishing behind in race 1, but always one of the drivers leading the way when it comes to race number 2, and hopefully no invisible barriers to stop him this time by. Yeah, Nenad Vadisavljevic is out of race number 2. So too, Ben Svarkash didn't take to the start either, so we've lost 2 drivers already. Rus Butcher was up inside the sort of the top 7, now down in 17th after that spin, this time a lap ago. Another lap in the books. Marvin Mackenberg now been passed by Stu Neal. So Marvin Mackenberg took 2 steps, sort of 1 step forward in race 1, is now taking 2 steps backwards in race 2 in terms of that championship. Looks to the inside of turn 1. There's no way through turn 2. So Stu Neal up inside the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely smashing it. If this was race 1, he'd have a really good opportunity for race 2. That's not the case, but gap to Gregor Hujek is growing, and that's one that Marvin Mackenberg needs to be slightly concerned about. To turn number 10, and trying to set himself up for a late apex to power his way past the British driver. There's Lloyd Biddulph. He wants to get as far away from Gregor Hujek as possible, both literally in the sense that he doesn't want to be anywhere near him on track, but also in terms of positions. Gain some points on him at the moment. If he can get himself up into the lead, he'll be gaining a healthy chunk of them. He'll be getting 7 points. If he's able to get the fast lap, it would then be 8. So Lloyd Biddulph in terms of the championship looking very, very strong. If Gregor Hughes stays fourth and Lloyd Biddulph wins this race, we definitely will have a change in the championship. But that does mean when we go to the Blitzerberg that it will be Biddulph with the ballast once again. And we saw what happened when that happened for Biddulph back at round 2. When we took to Brno, he really did struggle. So maybe it's just going to be swapping hands all throughout the rest of the season, which, don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely here for. 20 minutes left to go, already 5 of the way through. Defensive goes, this is Burek for 14th. Portugal looks to go to the outside of turn 1, and let's see what the Hyundai can do. Nothing is the answer to that question. Burek is able to stay in front, and in fact, actually, the Hyundai turning offense momentarily into defense as Opelic looks to find his way through on the Portuguese driver. Mackenberg, 6 minutes into a race, really does not want to be 6th. He went backwards off the start from 5th to 6th. He now is losing ground to the people he ideally wants to be beating in this race. And therefore is going to be losing points in the championship. Yes, granted there's still half the season to go. He's got plenty of chances to claw it back, but he missed 40 points worth of racing at round 1. Well, technically, actually 43 points worth of racing at round 1. So he really needs to be picking up, you know, every little helps. Other supermarkets, of course, are available, but he really wants to be picking up as many points here and there as he can relative to Biddulph and Hugek if he wants to become sort of that dark horse in the championship. Out the final corner, I think Mukkonen as close as ever to Sebastian Ray. Will he mount a challenge? If there's anything about Mukkonen is that he will take any opportunity that comes his way. Going in the middle of the circuit, Sebastian Ray giving Mukkonen the choice. Do you risk it and send it on the inside, or do you try and steam your way around the outside? Really clever defensive driving from Sebastian Ray, putting the ball in Mukkonen's court, and you could tell that he had a little bit of a think. Do I stay just here? Again, putting the pressure on Mukkonen despite the fact Mukkonen is trying to put the pressure on Sebastian Ray, and it's really clever. Really good way of staying in front. Although I don't know if Mukkonen may be taking a back step just to maintain the peaceful nature of this train, at least for now. Look at Hugek closing back in on Lloyd Biddulph. That's something that he does need to be careful of, does the double champion of Biddulph. Very aggressive, and I think overly aggressive. Bit of contact to the rear end of Sebastian Ray. Pavel Mukkonen loses both places because Lloyd Biddulph goes through. Mukkonen is lucky to hang on to Hugek. Didn't seem to be a massive bit of contact, but I think Pavel Mukkonen just took a bit too much speed. I think maybe just tapped Sebastian Ray in the wrong point. That sent him sideways enough to allow Lloyd Biddulph through. Hugek did not gain any places in that exchange, and right now this gives Lloyd Biddulph, on paper, a 7-point swing in the championship. Pavel Mukkonen, of course, is not going to take that one too lightly and probably try and carve his way back into contention. Sebastian Ray, does he have the pace to stay with Lloyd Biddulph if he's going to charge forward? Who's that? Is that Sven Mackenberg? Oh no, that's Nikita Grorov. So taken to the slalom, I don't know if the game allows you to go all the way through. That's going to be him down to 17th or up to 13th or wherever he's going to go. It's going to be 14th place as he settles. Not great for the driver that's already minus 6 points. Is his total for the championship. That's him off. 15 minutes, just under 16 minutes left to go in this race. Lloyd Biddulph has got a healthy advantage. They're pretty equidistant at the front, P1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Half a second or so in between each one. Stu Neal has got eyes on Charles Oyser. comes Pavel Mikkonen though. He's side by side, trying to find his way in a second place with Sebastian Ray. Hopefully they're not going to come to blows again, but Mikkonen needs to be careful how he approaches this one. He has got an opportunity to win this race, but it's so easy to overdrive the car. Overwork the tyres, get too much temperature into them, and at that point you're then just going to slide and have little to no rotation relative to those around you. Is he going to send it on the brakes though? In the slipstream, pulls out to the right hand side through to turn number 1. Sebastian Ray does see it coming. He's not really going to defend too hard though. He knows if he can just get to the apex first, which he does, he's going to keep that second place. A bit off, like I say, got a healthy advantage. 8 tenths, not quite breaking free of maybe the slipstream range of those behind, but if Ray and Mikkonen battle, straight away Bidoff is going to lick his lips and say thank you very much, I'm going to get away and try and score some points back on my championship rival. Nikita Grau down in 14th, but picking up a couple of points because of it. And if Burek in front makes a couple more mistakes to hamper his momentum like that one we saw through turn number 9, Nikita is going to say, oh, cheers mate, that's an extra point in my book, closing more to being back in the positives. The Honda Civic through turn 13, very fast right-hander. Not sure how you would take that one. I mean, it was taking the 4th gear, so be flat in 4th. There's a look there. Nikita Grau very late on the brakes, going into the first bit of the chicane. That's turn 15. He's going to set up maybe a double switch back through 16, but not meant to be. A flick to the right for 17. Really demanding is Moss. The change of the direction, you lean very much on the suspension of the car, and again, front wheel drive, like I said earlier, they're doing the turning and the powering. They get absolutely shredded. As Nikita Grau gets the run, we've not seen a look to the inside of the final corner yet this evening. Still not going to have a look to the inside of the final corner yet this evening. Grau thinking better of it, but immediately defensive. Goes Burek up 5 places from the beginning of this race, all the way to the inside of turn 1, and Nikita Grau not trying to go for the squeeze, and momentarily I actually thought Russ Butcher was going to go up the middle. There through goes Burek over the gravel, side by side between Butcher and Grau as they emerge out of the turn 1-2 chicane. There's probably going to be an almighty slowdown for Burek after that one. 13th he keeps, but slightly questionably just out braking himself, and that was really well driven actually from Russ Butcher to put himself in the middle, sort of scare both of them. I think he mounted a challenge on Grau and maybe put Burek off enough that sent him wide. And that's really wide actually. Who's that? Is that Gregor Hidjek that's gone off? It most definitely is. Our championship leader now drops to 5th. Could it be 6th if PJP is able to look to the inside of turn 15? He's not. But that's a huge mistake for Hidjek, especially when Lloyd Bidoff is leading this race. You absolutely cannot have mistakes like that in a championship fight this close. That's going to award another 2 points to Lloyd Bidoff, who on points alone, let alone any bonuses, is going to be 9 points clear. Up and under though from Pavel Mikkonen, and we are going to get our look to the inside of the final corner this evening. Pavel Mikkonen through to 2nd. Just under half of this race left to go. 11 minutes 37 on the clock. 1.4 is the gap in the front. Yeah, it's not going to be easy to catch at all for Lloyd Bidoff. 1.5, he's not a driver you want to mess with, but Pavel Mikkonen, of course, got no ballast. So maybe that's going to help him close the gap. He showed some remarkable pace early doors and was able to stay with Bidoff in race 1. I would argue maybe we've got a chance if Bidoff makes a slight mistake just to bring that under 1 second once again. Time will tell. Boyan Kabaya fighting with Jorge Prieto for the final place inside the top 10. It's a bit of a slide, way too aggressive through the left. It's going to put him off for the right, but not enough that sees Kabaya able to overtake. Track and some bit of AstroTurf. If it helps you open up the track, use it. Racing drivers always searching for as many different ways as they possibly can to find just fractions of a second of lap time, just to carry that little bit more speed through. Maybe 1 kph, but it makes a difference. racing, it makes all the difference. Are able to follow so closely to Jorge Prieto through that sweeping section. It is going to put Prieto on the back foot. Not using that bit of AstroTurf though, maybe because of the under braking, trying to trail in. Kabaya goes the long way around in the penultimate corner. Is he going to seal the deal through the final one? Yes, he is. What a move that is from the Serbian driver. It was a good defense from the Spaniard, but through goes Kabaya to take that final place inside the top 10. The gap at the front not really changing too much. A bit off from Mukkonen, staying at around about 1.5 to 1.8 seconds. Very nice move indeed, of course, that we saw to change the positions inside the top 10. Nice to see a lot of people in chat showing their support for their respective drivers, and again, continue to do so. If you haven't already, like the stream, make sure you subscribe to the T6 Motorsport channel. We've got exciting plans for 2025 and, well, to round off 2024, we've got the Super Touring Championship and, of course, just the Touring Championship on R-Factor 2. That's because Darren Thacker's on it. Of course, he is short in stature and therefore doesn't get the super dub. But it is a fantastic championship. If you haven't watched it, Laguna Seca, pair of fantastic races. A lot of chaos, but equally some nice racing to go with it. Looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season develops in that regard. But let's focus on here at Moss. Front stays the same, so we're focusing on this battle for 5th. Gregi Kijek was our championship leader. As things stand, he will be no longer. Pavel Mukkonen, though, dropping behind Sebastian Ray. He's bringing out some yellow flags. There he is in the gravel trap. What has happened to Pavel Mukkonen? A poor week at the Lausitz ring. And that puts him to the back end of the top 10 here at Moss. Gregi Kijek then reinstates as 4th, and that's going to be doing him some favours and limiting the damage for the championship this evening. But Pavel Mukkonen, what happened to see him off at turn 1 like that? I didn't think he was under too much pressure from Sebastian Ray, maybe pushing too hard to get after Lloyd Biddulph, but that's a weird place to be, the right-hand side of T1, because obviously in a rear-wheel drive car, I'd understand maybe you got the power spun and that's how you ended up there, but rarely do you see that in a front-wheel drive car. I have to say, I'm intrigued as to how we managed that one, but nonetheless. Six and a half minutes left to go, approaching the tail end of race number 2, and therefore this evening, not too much to write home about at the front now. Lloyd Biddulph seems secured to take that victory, but for Kijek, he's only a second off Marvin Mackenberg, who's found his way through, of course, after that mistake from the championship leader, or, well, X. There's a look to the inside, that's Nikita Grau, still fighting with Russ Butcher. Burek gave him the place back, of course, after his excursion at turn 1 and 2. So now these two free to fight for 13th, and Nikita Grau trying to apply the pressure to Russ Butcher, who probably going to be slightly frustrated at the end of this race, considering what could have been maybe towards the front end, but still picking up a very handy couple of points. Savlovich, by the way, who is back in this race. So earlier we thought he'd DNF'd, but he's back in. still in only sort of 17th place and about 4 and a bit seconds off scoring any points, but would be 15th of Burek. So he's doing it for a bit of fun. Bit of track time, maybe. Looks to the inside of Portugal. And 16th place gets settled through turn number 16. Mackenberg, yeah, definitely so. Sebastian Ray and Marvin Mackenberg, the pair of them, of course, both from the same country, both of them doing battle on home soil at the Lausitz Ring a week ago, and now both of them separated by just half a second in the fight for second. Marvin Mackenberg, of course, could be coming out of this with a net gain on both Hujek and Biddulph to kickstart the second half of the season in a week's time at the Blitzerberg. Able to get through on Sebastian Ray. He's going to do himself a number of favours, even though Lloyd Biddulph is going to be winning this race. This is an almighty mistake from the double champion. I don't really see any other outcome. No one's catching him on pure pace, especially with only 4 minutes left to go. So Marvin Mackenberg needs to be trying to dump everything he can into getting past Sebastian Ray. Jean-Pietre on the back of Gregor Hujek as well. Be interesting to see if the Unlimited Esports drivers, of course, representing the official BTCC team in their esports campaign. Roy Biddulph is one of them. Pascal Jean-Pietre is another one of them. Gregor Hujek is not. So is PJP going to maybe try and find his way through to assist in the point standings? There's Marvin Mackenberg on the back of Sebastian Ray. This is the contest for second we were talking about. It's not going to be defended by the Hyundai of Sebastian Ray, or well, the longer Hyundai of Sebastian Ray. Marvin Mackenberg goes through into second place. Nicely done. Picking up an extra couple of points to assist with his travels, although, I mean, a better run for Sebastian Ray. I don't think he's going to be overly interested in going back through. I think that fight is settled. Sebastian Ray maybe just happy for the podium. Pole position to only drop behind Biddulph and Mackenberg is not bad going, especially considering he didn't really let them overtake as such. It was Pavel Mukkonen that tapped him that then let Roy Biddulph through and unravelled it all in terms of the defensive operation at the front. But maybe 20 minutes at what was how long there was left to go in the race at the time. He maybe didn't have the ability to hang on for that long, but we wouldn't have known. He was afforded that chance. A slight mistake on the part of Pavel Mukkonen. Dropped Sebastian Ray down, but third place still very, very admirable indeed. The question remains, will Gregor Hujek stay fourth, or will he either A, catch on to the back of these guys, or B, fall into the clutches of PJP and Sven Mackenberg behind, who, by the way, has carved his way forward in this race so remarkably. Between race 1 and race 2, Sven Mackenberg has been top of overtaken, especially at the start of this one. Made the most of the turmoil and the chaos. This will be the final lap of the race, by the way. Just about. Lloyd Biddulph got one more tour then of the Autodrom Moss to seal home a victory. Be interesting to see if Sven Mackenberg can get his way into the top 5 after a dismal quali after brake issue. Sebastian Ray looks to the inside half-heartedly. Is it enough to put off the Mac? It's not. Mackenberg stays in front, but slightly deep and a slightly better exit from Sebastian Ray. Has he got the power to overtake through the S's? It's not looking good. The last lap, an opportunity is wearing down. Hujek in behind. PJP running out of opportunities to find his way through in the fourth as well. Through the right, then the left. Into turn number 10. Nicely covered off from Marvin Mackenberg. Hujek reeling him in. Give it a couple more laps. Would have a 5-car train for P2, but we're not going to be afforded that luxury. Time is of the essence. Need to seize your moment right now. Could be the case. You've got one shot and one opportunity. Into turn 15 and 16 for the final time. Lloyd Biddulph 4 seconds clear. We'll of course see him across the line when he gets there, but can cannot take my eyes off Sebastian Ray, maybe being able to fabricate an overtake and get his way back through for second. You can bet your bottom dollar he's going to be pushing for it, but time running out. There is our race leader and championship leader of Lloyd Biddulph. He's been able to gain a monstrous amount of points on Gregor Hijek today at the Autodrom Moss. The first time we visited the Czech Republic, of course, wasn't Biddulph's day, but he's returned, and it's redemption. P2 in race 1 and victory in race 2 for Lloyd Biddulph. Beautifully driven race here for round number 8 of the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship. Marvin Mackenberg brings it home for a double German podium in P2 and P3. Gregor Hijek in 4th, limiting the damage ahead of Pascal Jean-Pietre, and Sven Mackenberg limiting the damage after not really being able to take part in qualifying. That was magic. And another very, very good evening for the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship, it must be said. First half of the season in the books. And there you can see the standings. Lloyd Biddulph not only getting the win, but the fastest lap point for both races as well. That's going to be a nice helping hand in the championship. Marvin Mackenberg makes it an Unlimited Esports 1 and 2 ahead of Sebastian Ray in 3rd. Gregor Hijek limiting the damage, but 4th with all he could manage in race 2. Pascal Jean-Pietre from Sven Mackenberg in 6th. 2-0 from Oyster, Mukonen and Kabaya the top 10. And Jorge Prieto, Biblioni and Rus Butcher the top 13. Nikita Grau in the end was unable to find his way past. But a Burek Radosavljevic, who from a DNF to 16th, not bad going at all. Portugal from Opelic and Ben Farkas did not take to the start of this race in 19th. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the first half of Season 4 already in the books. We've ticked off Donington, Brno, the Lausitz and Most, and the championship is as close as ever. In a week's time, on the 17th of November, we'll take to the Bitterberg. There you can see another trip to Germany. And what a track it looks to be. Very technical. And hopefully another absolute thriller for the next 2 rounds of this championship before we then go to Laguna Seca, Assen and the Red Bull Ring. If you cannot wait a whole week for some T6 action, make sure you tune in on Tuesday for the T6 Motorsport Touring Championship on R Factor 2. They're going to be talking you through Istanbul, the magical circuit over in Turkey. From myself, Zach Sweeney, though, here on a Sunday, in a week's time, we'll start the second half of Season 4 where the championship battle continues. It's goodbye for now.